January 1st comes around, everyone and their mother's motivated, but that goes away after about a week. You have to build discipline, and you don't build discipline overnight. You build it painfully slowly.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mitch.
And I'm Dustin, and you're tuned in to the Fatman Podcast. Welcome.
So, as we usually do, we start out with our veteran highlight, and today's veteran highlight is Sergeant First Class John Walker. We just wanted to thank you for your, I think it was 22 years of service, still currently serving. And also we want to wish you well, because I know you hurt your foot this past weekend, so get better. And
get to feeling better, homie.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
So today we have a very special guest. We're excited to talk to him. And you are, where did you say that you were from again?
I'm from Colorado.
From Colorado? That's the place where pot got originally legalized, isn't it?
Yep, we're the weed state.
There we go.
A lot of stoners, yeah.
One of the best places to be.
Oh, it's great.
For anybody I'm still currently in, so anybody that's watching, I don't smoke pot. Just what you guys know.
Unfortunately, neither do I. My job will not allow it.
But we have a very special guest. He's came on to share his experience and his expertise, and we're excited to have him. So everybody, welcome, Mr. Jack Snyder.
Welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me, guys. I'm really excited.
Oh, we're really excited to have you. So could you give us a little, tell us a little bit about where you're from and what you do and what got you interested in, I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, so I just graduated college. I got a degree in biomedical sciences, so my background is more on the medicine side of things. A couple of years ago, I got my EMT certification. And
awesome.
Initially, I wanted to go to PA school because it seemed like the best kind of work-life balance sort of things. And for PA school, they require a lot of patient contact hours. And I thought being an EMT was pretty much the best way to do that while still going to college. So I've been working as an EMT for 3 or 4 years now. I've done a bunch of different jobs. I've been on an ambulance. Currently, I work in an urgent care and surgery center. So I do like to juggle a lot of things, but I just graduated college, and since starting college, I have decided to no longer pursue the PA route, and now I'm pursuing the doctor route. So I'm going the whole way.
Right
so, yeah, thank you. Since I made that switch, I've had to retool a couple of things. Obviously, I had to take the MCAT, which I know you guys talk about resilience and mindset, and I think taking the MCAT, I learned a lot through that. So that was a big hurdle to overcome. And then, I just got my degree and I applied to med school this year. I'm working. And besides that, I love to work out a ton, love weightlifting. I play piano, and in case you couldn't tell, with the piano behind me.
I'm a musician, so I love that.
Oh, awesome. What do you play?
If it has strings, I play it.
He plays the skin flute.
Well, I do that too, but let me rephrase it. I pick around a little bit. I'm never going to claim that I'm a great guitar player by any means, but I do enough to accompany my voice. Yeah, no, I mean, what more could you ask, really? Just have fun, you know?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way.
I play the air guitar really well.
Yeah, I'm good at the air drums.
Yeah.
Air drums are great. I
can play any air instrument, actually. I'm multi-talented.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Impressive.
So you had mentioned that you have a podcast. Could you tell us a little bit about your podcast?
I do. This has been my most recent endeavor because, like I said, graduated college, and I don't like sitting around and having free time, I guess. So as soon as I graduated, pretty much, I was like, okay, I need to do something with that time. And I started this podcast called Health Reframed. And basically the mission statement of it, if you will, is giving people medical information that they can understand, breaking down medical concepts, and doing so in such a way that they can take agency over their own health. Because I think it's really, really important that people know how to take control over their own health and have the mindset to do so. Because if you're able to do that, then a lot of the health problems that people have are ameliorated. A lot of the high blood pressure, high cholesterol, even stuff like heart attacks and strokes can be improved with lifestyle changes. And obviously it's easier said than done. So a big part of it is, hey, here's the things to do. And then maybe here's some of the mindset changes that you can have to implement those.
Yeah. And what you said, how you break it down. So in the military, we have a phrase for what you do. It's called breaking it down Barney style. And so we appreciate that. You know, it's all well and great if you have a piece of information that could help a lot of people, but if nobody can understand it, then what good is it? So I think that's great that you're able to break it down for people to understand.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's what I can do right now to help the field of medicine, I suppose. And again, having people know the information and not just having the information handed to them is like, okay, this is what you do. That's it. Full stop. And just where the authorities trust us, I think it's a lot better to say, okay, let's break these concepts down so that you can understand them, so that you can see each step of the logical procession. And I think the long form is just so suited for that, because a lot of these concepts are complex and you can't really break them down into small
I feel
30-second clips.
I feel like the accountability aspect has a big play on that, or it plays on the accountability aspect, rather. So, like, in my worthless, unprofessional opinion, if you're handed information, medical information, and you're told just do this, and the people don't understand why they're doing it, they're more apt to stray away from it. But if you have a deep understanding and the knowledge of, the principles of it, why you're doing it, what exactly it is that the information is trying to fix or resolve or stray away from, then maybe they would tend to stick to it a little bit longer.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I remember at one point I was starting a new medication that my primary care doc had prescribed me. And, I was a little skeptical about it. And he literally grabbed a napkin and started drawing out the biology of it for me, which I understood because I was in college at this point. And, I think it was something that most people could understand, but I had the little bit of experience, and that really helped ease my mind and just helped me understand it a lot more. And I think not every doctor is going to do that, which is unfortunate. But if there's resources online that can do that for you, I think that can be, it's not the best thing, but it's a good halfway point.
Yeah,
Right.
I get that. And I don't know how many times that I've gone to the doctor and they've told me to do something, but then whenever you start asking the questions why, they almost act annoyed, like, well, because I said so. That's all you need.
Exactly.
That's all you need to know.
I
Because
have a
said
degree and I told you, that's why.
Yeah. So I think that's really great and really helpful. So you had mentioned that you're.
Before we go any further, I want to point out we skipped over the entire name of your podcast.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
where to find it. So if you want to go ahead and give a free plug, there you go.
Yeah, for sure. So again, it's called Health Reframed, and it's on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. I mean, those I think are the big ones that people use. And then I have my YouTube channel, Health Reframed, where I'll post shorts from podcasts, or make shorts, or make medium form kind of like video essay content. So yeah,
Awesome.
Those are the places to go. Health Reframed. That's the handle pretty much everywhere, and
Awesome.
Instagram as well.
So
Oh,
guys, everybody check that out.
Yeah, definitely. We'll make
Thank
sure that we put your links in the description and make it easy for everybody to check
Anyway,
you out.
You were saying, sorry to interrupt.
Thank you.
So you said that you're avid in at going to the gym. Can you kind of give us a rundown of what your gym and fitness regimen looks like?
Yeah, so I guess I'll give the gym history, because I think that's always fun to hear and is very illuminating. So, I started going to the gym in high school. Wasn't really good at it. And I think I've suffered from an issue that a lot of people suffer from the gym, and that's just not being consistent. I would go once or twice a week, wouldn't really progressively overload, and I track all my workouts. So I look at this period of time when I started lifting, and I look at my bench press, right? And my 1 rep max on the bench press was 185 for 2.5 years straight. And it's because I wasn't going that often. But since then, I started taking it a lot more seriously. And I actually do a bit of a funky split with the gym. I do a full body split 4 or 5 days a week. So I'll go in, and it's effectively like a push-pull split,
Yeah.
but the leg day is just distributed across those days. So
That's
kinda
kind of
how
how
ours
we
are.
do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's really good. I enjoy it because I kind of hate leg day, and
Yeah, we
I don't
used
wanna
to have
squat.
a dedicated leg day, and we just dreaded it every day we'd get there. And we were like, oh, fuck, it's leg day. So then we just decided we'll sprinkle it out through the whole week.
And then you want to know what this psychopath did? He put leg day on Mondays, and I was like, whoa, we got to back this up. It's Monday, man.
Everybody
Yeah,
knows
that
Monday's
seems to be
bench
like-
day.
bench day, yeah,
Yes.
something to look forward to.
Oh,
so
yeah.
make the day a
Well,
little nicer.
my thought process was get the suck out of the way first and enjoy the rest of the week.
But I didn't
No,
like
I
it.
I respect that. Yeah. I feel like I prefer to get the worst part earlier. I
Well,
suppose.
initially we had our leg days on Wednesdays, and that was just horrible to throw it in the center of the week. And I was like, ugh. So,
Yeah. See, my issue for leg days was always like the muscle soreness because it just would
right.
destroy me for the next 2 days.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Even still, like if I skip squat like a couple times and I go back to it, it's just a couple bad days afterwards.
See, we've only recently started taking our leg days a little more seriously. So where I was like, oh, this isn't too bad, and then we've been taking it serious, and I've had many days where I felt like I was going to die.
Was it from the leg press?
It was from all of it. It was all terrible.
Well, we've really upped the reps on the leg press. So
Yeah. But sorry,
Yeah.
we didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're you're good. Where was I? So yeah, I do the full body split, and I think the biggest thing that I do that actually helps is progressive overload in tracking my workouts. So like I said, I have an app where I track all my workouts, and I've been doing that for like 6 years now, and
awesome.
yeah, pretty much I try to up something from the previous week, either the reps or the weight, and I try to have different kinds of days, So take bench press for instance. Some days I hate these days, but like 3 sets of 8, where it's a bit of a lighter weight, but it's 8 very difficult reps.
Yeah.
Or I'll have more powerlifty kind of days where I'll do 4 sets of 2, and those are going to be really, really heavy, but those are awesome for actually increasing your strength.
Yep.
So
Those are my favorite days.
Oh, me too. It's
The
like
short reps.
2 reps. Yeah. No, I did one of those the other day, and it was so nice.
Well, you just feel
So-
powerful after it. You know what I mean?
Oh, you feel you feel like a beast.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, fuck yeah. Like,
The
Exactly.
only downside is
strong.
the lack of a pump, but
Yeah.
it's
yeah, but
never be the guy to chase the pump. So
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, so I'd say it's a good mix of like powerlifting, muscle building, and then on top of that, I try to get some kind of movement in. Admittedly, I'm not as good as cardio as I would want to be. As
right there with you,
is-
brother.
yeah, kind of the plague of loving weightlifting is you
Mhm.
hate cardio. But I'll do the sauna. The sauna there's a lot of research on it, and it's not a 1-for-1 substitute for cardio, but what is it? They've done studies and looked at sauna use longitudinally, and they found that it lowers cardiovascular mortality by like 50% over an 8-year period if you use it, I think, like 3 times a week, 30 minutes. It's something to that effect. So it has cardiovascular benefits, even though it's not strictly cardio. And then I like to go on walks, Stairmaster occasionally, just not super intense with cardio because it's not my favorite thing,
Yeah.
but I try to get it in there at least to get the long-term benefits. Because I don't know, last year I was really intense on the whole powerlifting. Oh, I need to get my weights up and up and up. And then slowly my knees started hurting, my elbows started hurting, and dialed it back a little bit. And now I'm much more, okay, I just want to feel good and be strong and healthy and get all of the benefits. And then also
Do
sometimes
you take any BCAAs or anything for post workout?
No, so all I take supplement wise is creatine and then like protein powder.
Okay.
And then like caffeine, but that's who doesn't? So
Right.
We do quite
Yeah.
a bit of caffeine.
My whole entire bloodstream is built off caffeine.
Coffee, energy drinks. It just makes our hearts happy.
Yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
able to cut out a lot of things, and like because I've dropped about 60 pounds, and I've been able to cut out a lot of things. The caffeine is one that I seen a study that if you quit caffeine for like 30-60 days, eventually you will find what hell looks like. And so I just choose to continue drinking my caffeine.
I don't think it would take that long for me.
It'd be
I
like
think-
a couple days for me.
Yeah.
If I don't consume caffeine by like 11 o'clock, I start getting headaches.
Me too.
So
Yeah,
I-
awful headaches.
I was gone at drill, so I'm still in the Army National Guard, and we were gone in the field. It was the longest drill weekend ever. We were in the field for like from before sun all the way up until it was like 9 o'clock at night, and I had no caffeine in my system that whole entire day. And
Did you have MREs?
I
what
didn't
about
even
the
get
shitty
MRE.
MRE coffees?
I didn't see. I didn't
Better
even get
than others.
MRE because I was like I missed them. I was at safety, and so like by the time the gut truck came out, which is a Mexican place that they have food truck that comes out to the range, they came out and I missed them by like 2 minutes, and so then I got like a really shitty dinner. By the time it got around to me and I was done being a safety, all that was left was this nasty, greasy fried cod, and
Sounds horrible.
it was. I don't like fish, so it was like.
I do like fish, and that still sounds horrible.
And
Yeah,
then,
that doesn't sound.
Army fish is not fish.
and then like we finally got back to the barracks, and I was like, you know what? There's only one place that's open that I can order something because I was so hungry, and it was Domino's. And I was like, you know what? Heck with it. I'm going to order pizza, and I tried to order, and it was a 2.5 hour wait. I was like, fuck this day, you know.
That is so shitty.
So no caffeine and no food all day. It definitely played its toll on me, but I made up for it the
You
next
know what
day.
you should have done? You should have DoorDashed some caffeine.
That was the other
the
thing is
field.
why the signal stretcher or whatever the thing they had was down on the base, so I had no signal,
figures.
no service to be able to use DoorDash or be able to use
Ugh, man,
Uber Eats. So it was
that's
like,
awful.
I'm just going to bed. I
Everything was
I
just
called
against
it.
you for the whole day.
It was against me.
That is awful.
That's a long way to say I don't like not having caffeine. It makes me really grumpy throughout the day.
Yeah, I've had to cut mine back a little bit. I've been having like heart palpitations, and I think it's partly from the caffeine.
Oh, I'm
so,
sure it probably is.
Yeah. So I've cut it back to like a cup of coffee a day, but I still like,
I
my
cruise.
primary
Go ahead. Sorry.
care doc was like, you should cut back the caffeine. I'm like, no.
You know,
But sorry, you were saying.
I was I work with the Army National Guard. They have this really phenomenal program called Holistic Health and Fitness, and so it's H2F, and they have like these trainers and these doctors and every world class all around. And they were talking about caffeine, and they said as long as you stay below 600 what is it, milligrams or whatever, how do they
Milligrams.
Yeah.
milligrams of caffeine per day, you're probably okay. It's not
Well,
going to have adverse.
That's good to know because I cruise at about 5 to 550 daily.
I'm usually about
Yeah.
400.
I'm about
The number
500.
I've heard is 400 for
400.
don't go past.
Oh, well, that's
So-
bullshit because I do that daily.
Now
Micah,
I can tell on the days that I overdo it. Yeah, like the other day, I was like, I'm
Yeah,
feeling
you,
shaky.
when you were here, you were
Yeah.
like, oh, I feel jittery.
Yep.
yeah, for me, I don't get jittery. I just feel like weird and like overstimulated. It's, yeah.
So I have. So we talked to. We were talking a little bit about your fitness and what was. So what's your current goals as far as your fitness goes? Like what's something that you're working towards? Because one thing that we always talk about is I think that no matter where you're at in your fitness journey, like we're still on it and we're seeing where we're going, but we think it's very important to always continue to have goals for growth in whatever shape that takes. But what's your current goals as far as your fitness goes?
It's a good question. I mean, I still kind of care about the powerlifting. I still kind of care about the numbers with some things. I used to deadlift, but I have a bad back, so I have since stopped deadlifting, which love-hate relationship, but I think it'll probably be for the best. So for the other two, bench and squat, I'm still trying to get my numbers up. I was off the wagon a little bit for the better part of last year, so I've definitely got back on top of lifting. And then also cardio, getting my cardio health to be at a level where I just have a low resting heart rate and don't feel gassed unless I'm like running for a minute. So I would like to get back into more serious cardio, be that running or biking or whatever that may be, besides just the basic like sauna and walking, because those are pretty easy. So I would say cardio. Funnily enough, cardio is probably the thing that I want to focus on more, because again, I've wanted to take my fitness journey more down the route of health and longevity as opposed to just ego and vanity.
Be that functional fit,
Mm-hmm.
you know, where you can actually like do stuff, not look the part, but be able to do all the shit that you want to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
I got you.
Everybody wants to look like they lift weights, but if you don't move like you lift weights, then it's kind of pointless.
The
Kind of
fun,
like me.
the funny thing is so we both hate cardio, but he definitely hates cardio more than I do.
Oh, for sure.
And he
I
told
don't know if you can tell by looking at me, but I don't have a cardio body.
he's a power lifter all through and through.
Mm-hmm.
And but he looked at me last week and he was like, as much as I hate to say it, we might need to start doing cardio.
Yeah. I told him, I said, from now on, after every workout, I got to get at least 10, 15 minutes of cardio in at the end of the workout, you know.
And the thing is it's like anything. If you start small and build up, and you know, us doing something is better than us not doing anything.
Like 6 or 8 years ago, when I first started my whole fitness thing, don't really want to say fitness journey, because when I first started, I didn't really stick with it like you were saying you did. But I started off doing mainly cardio, and then I got actually really good at it, to where I was running, 45 minutes to an hour, and I wasn't even gassed. And I was like, well, this is good, and I lost quite a bit of weight.
Dude, he was skinny.
I was running like 3 to 5 miles every other. This part here was like 10 years ago, but I was running like 3 to 5 miles every other day, and I would run 5 miles and get back home and feel like I never even stepped foot outside to run. I was in great shape, but I was also at that point, I was about 80 pounds lighter. So big difference. But I've been trying to talk myself into implementing more cardio now, because I've noticed that I'm not losing the weight like I want, but I'm also not as functional as I want to be. So on top of the powerlifting, I need to start incorporating some cardio so I can get a little bit more flexible as well.
Yeah. That's another thing, is stretching and flexibility. Like, I just feel better when I stretch.
For sure.
I
remember like on the days when I was in the military, and I'd wake up at the ass crack of dawn, we'd go out and do our PT, and then we'd go for a run. The way I felt after my runs was I felt amazing. I felt great. And I kind of missed that feeling, that natural high that, not the runner's high necessarily, but that natural high that you get after a nice, good cardio session.
It makes you feel accomplished at least.
It really does.
Now, I have a question for you. Are you an evening gym goer, or are you a psychopath that works out in the morning?
So, I guess if we're ascribing psychological disorders to it, I would probably be bipolar, because some mornings, 2 days ago, I woke up at 4 a.m. to go to the gym before my 7 o'clock shift at work. And then today I went at 11 in the morning. So it really depends on the day. It depends on how I'm feeling. Some days I have to go into work at like 6 a.m. So I'm sure you guys know in the military, weird hours kind of make for weird scheduling, especially with the gym. So
I get that.
If I go into work a little bit later, I do really actually enjoy waking up in the mornings. It starts your day off right, and I feel so much more accomplished and better throughout the whole day if I wake up and go to the gym. And it's always just that first 10 minutes of laying in bed when my alarm goes off where I need to just kick myself in the ass and get out of bed. But at the same time, I don't know. I'm pretty flexible with it. Some days I'll just say, fuck it, I'm sleep in, and then go to work out after work. But,
yeah.
And that's
what
we do. We're the evening gym goers. We always show up at the gym at 7 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah. I do like the evening workouts as well. I'll get those in periodically.
I actually prefer afternoon workouts. Like,
if I could
my ideal time, if I could pick any time at all to go to the gym every single day, my ideal time would be about 1 to 2 o'clock. I feel like that's when I have the most energy and I'm the most amped up to do something physical.
Yeah, that's true, because like days where I've hit my best PRs are definitely in the afternoon. Like if I'm groggy as hell and slumping around the gym at 5 in the morning, like
that's me.
I'm probably not gonna want to get under the squat rack and hit a 1 rep max.
Yeah.
But if I've been awake and moving around throughout the day, I'm gonna be a lot more likely to lift a lot more.
I'll be honest. Whenever I think so, I think you'll know what I mean whenever I say this. Like, I have moments that I get really excited about the gym, and like I'm like, all right, this is it's going to be a good workout today. That usually is right around lunchtime or thereafter, and then you get off. I'll get off of work from the first job at 5:30 or so. By then, I'm just like, fuck going to the gym. Fuck this shit.
Tired, yeah. And that's me. I'll be at work at 2:00, and I'm like, today's gonna be a good workout day. I'm amped up. I'm ready to go. I'm gonna hit this PR, and then come 5:00 when I get off work, I get home at like 5:30, 5:45, and I'm just like, I'm tired. The gym sucks. I don't want to go. I'm gonna, but I don't want to go.
But the one good thing about like for me, I work 9 p.m. until about 5:30 p.m. I get off. I go to the gym, and then as soon as I get off of the gym, I go. So I own a company called ML Productions, and so I go in and I start working on that until 3:30 in the morning. So that halfway through my evening, being able to go to the gym, it kind of helps give me that second wind to have the energy to keep pushing on, and it's a good decompressant for the earlier part of my day. I have busy days, but
he has meth addict sleeping hours.
Oh, I do. That I am not a good example of how a person should sleep to be healthy, because I sleep from about 3:30 in the morning until 8:30 every morning. So like that's all the sleep that I get every single day, and so you got to put the time in if you want to start a business. That's the hard thing.
That's true.
Yeah, I think Alex Hormozy, if you guys are familiar with him.
Oh yes, I love him.
Yeah, he has this thing with that kind of idea you're riffing on, where if you want to be successful, you have to look at the things that people sacrifice that you would sacrifice, or wouldn't, rather, sorry. Look at the things that people don't sacrifice, and if you sacrifice them, you're going to have a head start, because
exactly.
They're not willing to sacrifice it.
And like the thing that I've noticed is, so, and this, whether you're talking about business, whether you're talking about your goals in life, fitness, whatever, the number one thing that I hear from people is, I don't have time. I promise you, there is time in the day, because whenever I first started this journey, especially like, so I've had my own business for about 8 years, but it was more just like a side hustle for a long time. And then whenever I decided to take it serious, I was like, okay, where can I start cutting things out? So like you think, well, I spend 3 hours at the end of my night watching Netflix or scrolling on, like doing the doom scrolling on TikTok. Okay, can I cut out those 3 hours that I'm going to spend doing that and do something productive? And before you know it, you really do, like, you don't realize how much time you actually waste throughout your day. And out of the only things that I'm not willing to sacrifice is going to the gym. Like, if you want
to the people who say that I don't have time, point them towards their screen time.
Oh yeah,
stats on their phone.
For sure.
Because all of us, unfortunately, we waste time on our phone.
Yeah.
I mean, myself included. I think the average is 6 to 8 hours of cell phone time.
Oh yeah,
screen time.
I was surprised how much time I spent on my devices outside of work because I use them for work, but I was surprised how much time I really did spend on my devices throughout the days. But the only time that I'm not willing to sacrifice is the gym, and then every other weekend I have I have 3 boys. Those are the only days that I don't work, and so I use those times. They're still young, and so I don't want to miss that time with them. And so, but it makes it so every other ounce of time is taken up. And you can ask him. I'm always at it, aren't I?
Always.
Always.
The one thing I don't want is, well, actually, I have 2 things that I will not sacrifice. One is the gym time, and the other one is my sleep. I do not want to sacrifice my sleep at all.
Yeah, I don't blame you there, because realistically, I think if most people do a cost-benefit analysis on sleep, if they sacrifice 2 hours of sleep every night to get those for work time, what is that work time looking like versus if they got 8 hours or more sleep? Because if you're 50% more productive when you have 2 more hours of sleep, then it's probably not worth it. So you just have to find that sweet spot. And you might be someone who just doesn't need a whole lot of sleep. Some people just don't. It's genetic in many ways. Winston Churchill needed like 4, 5, 6 hours of sleep, and he was just fine. Winston Churchill was like, he was a fucking madman. He would drink, like, okay, he would wake up, and I think he would have something like 2 or 3 martinis before lunch, and then have another martini, like,
that's
like
just royalty.
Strong martinis. Yeah, he was he was a hell of a guy, but he didn't need much sleep, and he was totally fine with that. So I find your sweet spot with sleep, and
Cirrhosis will keep you up at night.
Yeah.
yeah, maybe don't take up Winston Churchill's drinking habits. Yeah, I don't know how. Maybe if we're in another World War II. But.
Yeah. So we've talked about your fitness. Can you? I think coupled with fitness, another very important part is the fuel that you put into your body. And I was just curious. So, what do you do, or what does your meal plans look like that keeps you going?
So I try to keep it simple and eat a lot of the same shit.
Does that mean meal prepping, or you just eat the same shit daily?
So I eat the same shit for like, so I kind of eat like a hobbit. First of all, I have like small breakfast, and then I'll eat like halfway through the morning, and then I'll have lunch, and then I'll have like an afternoon snack. So I'll eat a lot throughout the day, and most of those meals are pretty identical. Like I'll get protein cereal from Costco, like the Premier Protein. That's really good.
That stuff's
Or
amazing.
yeah, or bagels, which bagels are probably one of the more unhealthy things in my diet, but bagels are just
Yeah,
so
you
good.
can't go all in. You gotta have your vices.
Yeah. So, and then lunch, I'll probably make like sandwiches, protein shake, that sort of deal. And then dinners are where I get a little bit creative because I do really enjoy cooking. So I basically have a couple of recipes that are fun to cook and taste amazing and really healthy. Like I haven't eaten dinner yet tonight, but for dinner I have a pesto pasta with like smoked paprika, shrimp, and then
Oh, that sounds good.
broccoli and just like vegetables. So I'll meal prep the dinners, and that way I have an actually tasty dinner to look forward to. And most of it I try to make it reasonably whole foods,
Yeah.
not as processed, and lots of protein, as much protein as I can get.
I meal prep weekly. I'll meal prep. I only eat 2 meals a day.
Oh,
I eat lunch and then I eat dinner. And that's it. I don't ever eat breakfast. And if I do, it's something, quick that, if the wife's off work and she got up and made something, then I'll munch on it. But most of the time I don't. 95% of the time I don't eat breakfast. But I'll meal prep the same shit, for weeks on end. And be completely fine to eat the same thing daily, like over and over again. Like right now, this last Sunday, it was buffalo chicken penne pasta.
Ooh,
And it's,
that does sound good.
and it's I made 10 meals, and I'm just going to eat that all week. And I'll probably make the same thing next week. Like,
See, he's been on me about meal prepping, and I finally, these past 3 weeks, I'm not very organized. I'm not good. I like the idea of organization, but I have a very chaotic life, and so it's like taking that, like you were talking about, where you're willing to sacrifice, taking the time to a couple hours it takes to meal prep on like a Sunday. I haven't been the best at it, but here lately I have, and how my meals, they're like my weekly meals look the same, but I make variations so I'm not eating the same thing back to back each day because I like variety. And so, but I also like simple. So if it's simple for me, I'll do it. If it's difficult, I'm not going to do it. I just know me, and that's been at least historically that's been kind of how it's went. But no, I was curious what well, that's your thing. Yeah. But I was just curious how you fuel your body, and you always hear that gains are made in the kitchen, not in the gym. So I was just curious where you are on that.
Do you count macros at all?
So I used to be like religious with counting macros. I used to count weigh every single morsel of food, and like, if you're wanting to prep for like a bodybuilding competition, that's probably a non-negotiable.
Right.
Or if you want to get super duper lean, like it's an option. But I think there's a lot of merit to, intuitive eating, or eating until you feel satiated, and just getting comfortable with how much food you actually need.
Yeah.
So I used to count religiously, but now I pretty much know if I'm eating too much in a day, and I'm not as interested in cutting down super, super like low body fat to look crazy good. Like I'm not, I'm pretty happy with where I'm at. So
Yeah.
I just eat good, clean food and weigh myself periodically, make sure I'm not missing the mark too much.
How often do you weigh yourself?
Probably once or twice a week.
Yeah.
That's what I try to aim for. And I don't know, I think that's just a good rule of thumb for most people, is because if you weigh yourself every day, there's just a lot of
get
changes
discouraged.
that don't really reflect what you're doing.
It's a mental fuck whenever you do that. Trust me. I think with everybody that's ever struggled losing weight, or had issues whenever it comes to fitness and body image, weighing yourself it's a very gruesome cycle that you can get into. And for me, where it really fucked me up was I lost a shit ton of weight. I went from 235 down to 190, and then whenever I got down to there, I kind of like stagnated on my weight, but I could tell a difference in like how things fit, and I could, like, my arms were getting bigger. And so where it messed me up is, I can't really go off of what the scale says anymore. It's more like I have to find other ways to measure my progress. And so like that definitely, weighing myself every day definitely it messes with your head. And it can, whenever it's going great, you feel on top of the world. But whenever that scale stays the same day after day after day, it really discourages you and makes it easy to say, you know what, I'm done.
Yeah, no, and I think for those of us who love our data porn, it can get particularly illustrious, because you just like seeing the numbers and you like seeing the data. But especially with your own health, like, the number is one very fuzzy general stat. It doesn't tell you a whole hell of a lot. Like, you could be 6'2", you could have two guys who are 6'2", and they both weigh 210, and one could be in amazing, awesome shape, and the other could be wildly out of shape, and you would have no way of knowing based on the weight. So yeah, I think the way I use it is kind of just as a touchstone. So weigh myself, and if it's like way out of whack, and then I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, like these two things are pointing in the same direction, then I'll course correct a little bit. But by and large, I think I know generally where I'm at. I've gotten in tune with my body, and maybe that's from years of tracking my macros and getting comfortable with my own eating habits. But yeah.
I tell people all the time that weight's just a number. I mean, it's something to use as a basis of where you want to be and know where you are. But like you were saying, you could have two people, and be completely different. It's like, if you find a guy that's my age and my height, and he's a professional bodybuilder, like IFBB Pro type of bodybuilder, and he weighs the same amount as me. Like right now I weigh 276 pounds. If you find an IFBB Pro that's the same height as me, 276 pounds, that dude is massive. He's jacked. Mm-hmm. But if you look at me, 276 pounds, you're like, that dude's fluffy. So it's not like, everybody weighing the same weight has the same exact look. So
you're jacked from here up.
Yeah. So I think, it's a good place to start, but there's a lot of other important things about your health that you should probably be a little bit more tuned to. I mean, DEXA scans would be great if we could have all have that in our house. But
I wish.
Yeah, no, God, one of the nurses I worked with was telling me about her husband, some family relative who bought a DEXA scanner just like because he has fuck you money, and he just kept it in his garage for like years. He just
never
owned
used it, or
well, he used it. It was just like his own personal DEXA scanner, and then finally he wised up and decided to start some like functional fitness kind of, like you could go in and use it, and they had like clinicians there and do blood tests, like IVs, that kind of thing, I think. But yeah, DEXA would be great. But again, I think, how do you feel? Can you walk upstairs without feeling gassed? Blood tests, if you go to the doctor and your cholesterol or blood pressure, these sort of things are out of whack. Like, these are a lot more important measurements. Or if you do, I have a body fat percentage scale. I don't trust it, but body fat percentage, if you're able to measure that, is a much better number. Or a good one is, do you guys know about the FFMI scale?
I don't
No,
know.
I never heard
I
of
don't
it.
know that.
Yeah, so it's a much better. Oftentimes, clinicians and fitness people use BMI. BMI sucks. I'm sure you guys know that BMI sucks.
Yeah, the Army uses BMI, and their measurement or their weight of measuring it is
It's
bullshit.
ridiculous.
Yeah, no. BMI is not a useful measurement to anyone. But FFMI is the fat-free mass index, and I forget exactly how it's calculated, but it takes into account factors like what percentage of your body mass is fat, what percentage of your body mass is muscle, and then puts that against your weight and everything, and then it pumps out a number that places you a lot more accurately on a scale that is more representative of health.
See, about 8 months ago, I went to the H2F class, and I got in a bod pod, and it told me all kinds of things about my body that I didn't know, like even down to like how much fat and lean muscle I have per limb. You know, like it was pretty,
Wow.
it was pretty
It's in
accurate.
detail.
Yeah, you should be within like 5% per limb, and so I found out that like it was pretty even. But no, it was very interesting to like actually see what my percentage was, but it will also humble you a lot too, where you think you were versus where, I mean, it takes it down pretty accurately, and so yeah, it humbled me a little bit.
Oh, I can imagine.
Now, we had kind of gotten into a little bit of the medical side, and I know that you said that a big passion of yours is preventing injuries and keeping yourself healthy overall. And so like I think that especially people that's in our age group, I'm 36, he's 42, right?
Yep.
And so we're getting to that age where injuries are becoming more prominent, and like he's an example. He got an umbilical hernia, you know. But what would you say? What would you say to people that are in our age group and older? Good ways to help prevent injuries. Good ways to help prevent sickness and illness.
So, I mean, if health is a stool that you sit on, it rests on 3 legs, and those 3 legs are sleep, diet, and exercise. Now, that's pretty trite. That's pretty cliche. Everybody knows that. So, I think instead of spending time on that, I think it's a lot more important to spend time on, okay, but how? So, you have someone who maybe hasn't eaten well their whole life, or doesn't enjoy exercising, or stays up for 2 hours at night on their phone. Like, these are problems that you can't just say, spend less time on your phone, eat better, go to the gym, because that's not going to do a whole hell of a lot. So I think you have to talk with them, or my advice, I guess, would be, identify the problems, right? And it's not very difficult to do. If you ask yourself, what's something I should be doing that I'm not, that I know I should? And you'll have like 6 things spring to mind, probably. Like, I know I do this exercise periodically, and it's like boom, 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 like down the list. It's quick. So if you're thinking health, like apply this to health. What are the things that I know I should be doing that would make me healthy? And immediately, like, sleep more, less time on my screen, probably move around more, don't eat all this shitty junk food. Like, these things spring to mind pretty quickly. And then take one of them, just one, right?
Like you're explaining my life.
Take one of them and think of the smallest thing that you can do to move a little bit closer to that goal. So if it's, take diet, because I think diet is probably the most important of those 3. You are what you eat. Again, trite, cliche, but it is true.
He's an asshole.
What?
I'm just joking.
What
Took a minute for that to process.
what is the smallest thing, the smallest improvement you can make in your diet that will actually improve it? And it might be something as small as, I don't know, buy 1 candy bar, not 2 candy bars. Order 1 pizza, not 2 pizzas. Like, if you're way like eating very, very shitty food, just take it down to a level that feels pathetically small, because that's a step you'll actually make. And a lot of times people try to move too far. They try to make too big of a change, and maybe you'll sustain it for a week. Like if you don't exercise and you want to start going to the gym, sure, you might go to the gym for an hour a day for a week, but you'll probably fall off the bandwagon. A lot of people fall off the bandwagon. Just all you have to do is go to the gym on January 1st and then go to the gym on January 31st. Pretty clear representation of that, right? Yeah. So identify a small thing that you can do and do that. And then keep making those small incremental steps, and it starts to spiral up pretty quick. And once you start spiraling up in one domain, your diet starts getting better. You're like, okay, I have this momentum. I know how to do this. I can apply it to working out. Like when I started working out seriously, I was like, okay, let's go to the gym 3 times a week for 30 minutes. Like, pathetically small. It's like, that's stupid, but I did it. And then pretty quickly I started going to the gym a lot more, 6 days a week, hour-long, hour-and-a-half-long workouts, and you just spiral upwards. So I think those small intentional steps towards your goal and having a clear idea of what that is, that's the actual thing that is going to help people, because everyone knows what they need to do.
Yeah.
So
it's creating that discipline.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they say, 100 small steps leads to one big leap.
Yeah. We always say those small wins turn into big wins.
Yep.
Yeah. And they seem small, it seems stupid, but like, you got to do them. You got to make that first step, because unfortunately humans we're very locked in our ways. It's very hard to change, especially once you start getting older, but we can. We have a lot of neuroplasticity, and people can change. It just takes a lot of discipline, and it takes doing it in the right way.
Yeah.
Yep. And people, I hear people talk a lot about the motivational aspect of it. Like, where do you find the motivation to go all the time? And I kind of liken that to, I've told him before, if you take a roll of toilet paper and you tear off one square, do you see a difference in the whole roll? No. If you tear off the next day another square, do you see a difference? No. But after about 2 to 3 weeks of you doing that daily, tearing off one square, you're going to start seeing a difference in that roll of toilet paper. And the same holds true with your body. If you make one small, tiny step on day one, you're not going to notice a difference. You're going to feel a little bit better about yourself for doing it, but you're not really going to notice much of a difference. But if you keep consecutively doing that for weeks on end, a month, 2 months, 3 months, then you're going to start noticing these changes, and so is everybody else, and that's going to give you that motivation.
Consistency is key.
100%.
Yeah.
And really,
and again, it's so trite and overplayed, but it is so true. Consistency and discipline, because, motivation is fleeting. January 1st comes around, everyone and their mother's motivated, but that goes away after about a week. You have to build discipline, and you don't build discipline overnight. You build it painfully slowly.
Discipline beats motivation all day, every day.
Mm-hmm. See, and for me, like, a year and 8 months ago, when we started going to the gym together, I had never stepped foot into a weight room ever. Like, I would always walk up to it, and I would see all these big monsters lifting this heavy weight, and I'd walk up to it, and I'd be like, I'm not going in. I don't want to look foolish. I don't want to look stupid. But he made a post, and we've said this many times on the podcast. He made a post looking for a gym partner, and I impulsively was like, I'll do it. And then the second I impulsively made that decision, I was like, fuck, now I got to do it. And so at first, when we first started going, he was like, I'm going to go 4 days a week. And I was like, well, I'm probably only going to go like 3 days a week. Then he talked me into it to go on that 4th day. And I was like, okay. And the first week was tough. And then the second week was tough. And the third week, not quite as tough. And I was starting to get into the groove of things. But I still didn't enjoy it. It took me probably about 2-3 months to the point where I'm like, okay, this isn't that bad. And but learning, a big part of it, of like new time gym goers, it's learning your body, learning what you're capable of. Because like, even if you were an expert athlete 10 years ago, but you haven't done anything, you're a beginner again, And so learning your capabilities again, and once you find that out, and then you find your groove, like I ended up really enjoying the process. And I don't always enjoy the process. Sometimes he's like, stop being a bitch. And so
That's actually our number one rule in the Fatman community is
don't be a bitch. Yeah, that's our number one. That's our motto. And so there's sometimes that we're just like, I'm not gonna make it today, and he'll be like, "Oh, somebody's being a bitch today." I'm like, yeah, you're right. And I do the same thing to him. But
once you start seeing the results of your hard work, though, it becomes an addiction.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, no, the don't be a bitch thing is hilarious because like I'm sure you guys know David Goggins.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
He's actually from Brazil, where we're from.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
he grew up. Well, I don't know about grew up, but he's from our hometown.
Yeah, he
here.
graduated from the local high school here.
Yep.
Very cool. Very cool. Small world, huh? Yeah. But yeah, David Goggins. He's I hear him in my head whenever I'm being a bitch, because
Stay hard.
No, he's like, who's gonna carry the boats and the logs? Stop being a bitch. So yeah, if I'm not wanting to get out of bed in the morning or like struggling on the treadmill or Stairmaster, or I'm like hyping myself up for like a heavy set of whatever, like he's there in my head and like you know.
Well, funny enough you say that. I have an app on my phone called Pep Talk, and daily it'll update and give you different things, and it's just celebrities that go on these long rants of pep talks and stuff, and several of those are from David Goggins, and I just listen to him daily. I mean, I don't need them necessarily, but it's nice to have that in the back of your mind, because sometimes you'll hear things that you're like, oh, I never really thought of it like that.
Yeah,
and it kind of sticks
gives you
with
perspective.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
go
ahead. I was just gonna say, I think there's always value to hearing different people's takes on things.
So when we first started going to the gym, I'm the you got this, buddy. You keep pushing. Like, I'm a positive reinforcement kind of guy, and like
giving stickers,
not Dustin,
like,
and he's like I'd be like, you got this, buddy. Keep going. And he's like, I need you to degrade me whenever I'm doing this.
Me. Yes.
And
talk to me like a drill sergeant.
And so it took me a little bit, because I would be like, you got this, you son of a bitch, and like, and so like now I'm like
a slow transition.
Yeah. Now like after a while, I got into my groove. I'm like, get this shit. Don't be a pussy. Keep pushing that shit up. He's like, that's what I need. That's what I need. Just talk nasty to me.
You need the drill sergeant.
I do.
Full metal jacket.
I do.
Yeah.
We have this girl that works out with us. This lady, she's a badass. She lost 167 pounds, and
wow.
she's a total badass. But she works out with us, and so I'll talk to her sometimes like that. She's like, Mitch, I am just a girl.
He gets used to talking to me like that, and he'll say that shit to her.
Yeah.
She's like, you're going to hurt my feelings. You need to calm down. Why is he so hype?
Yeah, different strokes for different folks, I suppose.
It's just funny because I'm not like that at all. I'm just you got this, buddy.
Yeah, no, I definitely like at least in the gym, a little bit of I don't know. I like a little bit of both. In my head, I'm a lot harder on myself, but then if I'm lifting with friends, like the hype man kind of deal, where it's like, fuck yeah, come on, get it.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
That's pretty good too.
Which do you prefer on average, like when you're working out?
And
do you work out by yourself as well?
Yeah, I work out pretty much exclusively alone.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I used to, and then I couldn't, and that's when I put that post. I was like, I need a gym partner.
Yeah. I do enjoy, I don't know. It is nice. I just feel like it takes longer when you're with someone.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
I would say I like very aggressive positive reinforcements, like screaming at me to get it up.
Yeah.
You're doing fucking great.
No.
So fucking proud of you.
Maybe a little degradation. Like, come on, get it up. Fuck yeah, get up, pussy.
Yeah.
That sort of deal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the more aggressive and angry you sound when you tell me to push the weight, the better off I'll do. Yeah.
What he does to me sometimes is like I'll get ready to do like heavy bench, and I won't always expect it, and all of a sudden, whack, smacks right on the back. You're like, son of a bitch.
Yeah. No. One of my best friends, him and I will work out whenever we hook up, and we also we do imitate famous people, so we'll imitate the Ronnie Coleman, yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy, and then slap each other. Yeah, or the David Goggins, who's gonna carry the boats and the logs? So we'll kind of do that with each other.
Yeah.
But
Hell yeah.
This guy here likes to say stupid shit to make me laugh in the middle of my heavy
Dude,
sets.
Not
oh
your
my
heavy
God,
sets.
bro.
Sometimes,
Hardly ever. Whenever
Not-
you're lifting
okay,
heavy,
when it's a pull, you do. Not when it's a push.
Yeah, if it's gonna kill you, I don't.
So like I'll be doing heavy lat pull downs, and I'm working for 12 reps, and I'm on like rep 9, and he'll walk up and say some stupid shit. Like the gym shirts that I wear are Gymish brand shirts, and they always have sayings on them. Like one of them will say,
Like the other
like-
day, I was
like-
like, remember this. This is bulking season. Gymish.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Or I have one that says "Get big," new day, same goal. And he'll walk up and he'll be sitting there beside me while I'm doing my heavy lift, and I'll be pulling down that heavy weight, and he'll be like, "New day, same goal, Gymish, get big." And he'll just like whisper it.
Oh yeah, gotta whisper.
And it makes me laugh,
Get
and I'm
into
like, "Dude, shut the fuck up!" Like,
my other favorite thing to do is I love to improperly spot him on things that don't require a spot.
yep.
Like he'll be doing cables, and I'll come up behind him. I'm like, I got you, buddy, because I'm a good gym partner. Or I spotted him at the water fountain the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, gotta help with the water.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
one
didn't
of my
want to get another umbilical hernia.
yeah.
Yeah,
Funny
one of my
enough.
buddies will do that too. Except he is kind of a dick about it sometimes. He'll there's this one time I was doing heavy squats and he was making fart noises at the bottom of my reps, which was
That's the worst.
killing me. I had to go up to him and be like, "Dude, shut the fuck up! Don't do that. I'm gonna die over here."
I failed a couple reps because of him. in the
Yeah.
past, Nothing
It
major.
happens.
Nothing major, but yeah.
Yeah, the ones that I think that he might die if I make him laugh, I don't make him laugh on
Heavy
those.
bench, no, he takes that
No.
pretty serious.
or dumb like he was doing super heavy dumbbell chest press, and it was whenever I was still learning. I'm still learning every day, but I wasn't properly spotting him. I was spotting him from his elbows because that's just what I seen, and I thought, okay, well I realized why you spot from wrists because he was doing 120s. And
Whoa.
and he's a big fucker, just to let you know. But
Jeez.
his hand started giving out, and it started coming right at his face, and he was able to roll it off of him. But it scared me
About
enough
caught a
that I
face
was
full
like,
of dumbbell,
I almost killed him. So I don't when anything that's heavy, I don't fuck around with.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah, maybe I should get a gym buddy because all of that sounds, a lot more fun, especially on lifts like incline dumbbell press. Having a spotter or just someone to help me pump up the first rep would help.
Surprisingly enough, incline dumbbell press is my favorite exercise of all time.
Oh, me too.
For sure.
I used to hate incline chest press but I incline dumbbell press is probably my best press when I compare myself to other people, which again shouldn't do but can't help it.
Yeah.
Because most people hate it. I love it, so
Yeah.
it's so fun.
My two favorite exercises, and possibly because they're my two strongest, but my two favorite exercises are the dumbbell chest press, the incline, and flat bench.
Yeah, I would honestly say about the same. Maybe pull-ups because I do weighted pull-ups.
I
And
suck at pull-ups.
yeah, I love weighted pull-ups. I just feel very, very strong and very badass doing
Yeah.
those. So
So for a long time, so up until probably 8 months ago, I had never done a pull-up in my life, and it was something that I worked at every single day, and every time I would see these people come in, and I remember there was one time this 13-year-old girl came in and was doing pull-ups. I was like, "You bitch," and,
He didn't say that out loud, mind you.
but it's the only thing that I would see other people do. I was like, I'm gonna get this, and so now the most pull-ups that I've done, they weren't clean. But I'm still counting them for right
as
now.
long as they're not CrossFit pull-ups.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
they weren't.
If I ever saw him do CrossFit pull-ups, I'd get
No,
a
they
gym
weren't. They
partner.
weren't those. But I've done 10 pull-ups. So
It was 11.
Hey, that's pretty
11 was your PR.
11. I did 11 pull-ups, but I thought I did 10.
It was 11.
Oh, I did 11. Oh.
good. Nice. Yeah,
But-
double digits. That's
Yeah.
I would say most people. That's one of those things. I think a good reframe for fitness is if you're feeling discouraged, sometimes it is good to compare yourself to other people because the amount of people who can do 10 pull-ups is probably less than 5% of the population. It's
Yeah.
probably
See, I
pretty
didn't
low.
know that.
I don't know. I'm just throwing a random ass number out there, but it's probably pretty low.
I do look up. I don't compare myself to other people because I've always been told that comparison is the thief of joy. But I do look up and compare myself to statistics. a lot.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how many people can bench, 405, or how many people can, deadlift, 600 pounds, or whatever the case may be. I do look at a lot of statistics, because that, again, then makes me feel better, because I'm like, okay, well, I can do this, and only 3% of the population can do it, so I feel better now.
Well, like,
Yeah.
whenever we first started doing flat bench, like, I could only bench with like an extra 50 pounds on the bar. That was it. And
You started off at 135.
yeah, I don't think I even got that much.
When you first benched it. Oh.
Yeah, whenever
like,
I first
like day one?
Yeah, the first time I benched, it was
I think you did
25 on each side.
Was it?
Yeah.
I thought it was 30.
So anyways, whenever I would see him, and he's a Goliath. Like, he can put up a lot of weight, but like, I would see him, and then I would see what I'm lifting, and it was it was easy to get discouraged at first, but then I was like, you know what, if I can get to 225, then I'll feel like I'm a man. And now
now it's up to 315.
yeah, now my next goal is 315. I've gotten 295. That's the most I've gotten.
Wow.
But that's my goal by the end of the year. I want to get 315, 3 plates. I think that's a good goal.
Everybody always said that, going to the gym is the best thing you'll ever do, which is true, but also on the same token, it's like, I suffer now since I've been going to the gym from body dysmorphia. I will never be big enough.
Sorry.
I will never be strong enough. It doesn't matter what weight I lift. I will always want to lift more.
Yes.
Yeah. You do have to fall in love with the process.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah. But what do you guys think of social media's effect on body dysmorphia?
Oh, it's a piece of shit.
So we actually
sure.
we had a whole episode almost on this when we had this lady on here. Her name's Kaylin Worland. She's the one that lost 167 pounds. But we kind of got into how the Instagramification of the world. Like, it's even whenever you see these weight loss journeys, you see the before, and then boom, it jumps to the after, and you don't get to see all the hard work and
all the times they failed.
Yeah,
along the way,
the misses, and then all the crap that goes into getting to where they want to be. And so, like, that's a big push of why we decided to start the Fatman Project, because we are so far from where we want to be. But I know that my whole life, my whole adult life, struggling with my weight, I've had people that were in my life that they were physically fit, but they never struggled like that. And so they would just be like, well, just don't be a fat piece of shit. It's that easy, And so
best advice ever.
Yeah. It just don't be fat. Yeah. And so that's a big push on why we started the Fatman Project, is because we wanted to show people, like, we're just two regular Joes that are trying to do better for ourselves, and we want to take people along on the journey.
And we will get there, but it'll take time.
We're still working at it, and like I said, we're so far from where we want to be. But we wanted to do it like this to kind of show people that we're just two regular Joes that are trying to do better, and hopefully help support people along the way and motivate people along the way, and maybe inspire, and then have people like you come on here to help educate too, because like I said, we're two dumb hillbillies that are just learning things as we go, and there's so much stuff that we don't know, and so we love learning more and more from people like you. And so that's a long way of saying it. The Instagram world has definitely messed with the I think people's views on their body image, and I think that it's so common to hear about it from the female side of things, from like with women, but you don't hear a lot of men talk about how it really does affect how we view ourselves as well.
Well, and on the same token, also, there's people that are trying to make a difference in themselves, and they're posting about it, and they're staying active on social media, and then you get the people that are assholes that see them making progress, and they just want to beat them down. They want to talk shit about them, or talk shit to them, or try to diminish the results that they're getting and stuff like that. And that also has a huge negative effect on a lot of people. Some people can just let it roll off their shoulders, like I myself am one of them. But there's a lot of people that will have those people get on there and comment, those haters, if you will, and it tears them down, and it causes them to stop whatever it is that they're doing. Their progress just halts completely. So I feel like that's another negative side effect of it.
But we're hoping to offer a positive community
Right.
for people to come to, and just know that we support them on their journey, no matter where they're at, whether it's a weight loss journey or if it's just a overall fitness journey, whatever that looks like. We just want to be a positive place for people to come and hang out and share their stories and share some advice and just at the end of the day make a positive impact.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think it's I'm glad that there's people out there doing that. I'm glad I found you guys, because the internet is pretty saturated with, low level fake a lot of the times, because, well, especially in the fitness industry, when you see a picture of a super jacked guy,
How
let's
much
see,
is that as Photoshop?
about 80% of that can probably be chalked
That
up
too.
to roids, Photoshop, and genetics,
Yeah.
and lighting.
I
Lighting is every.
Oh,
so
100%.
I'm a videographer, and I like half my job is shaping lighting, because you can make somebody look like a piece of dog shit, and you can make that same person look amazing just with how you shape lighting. So yeah, I could make myself look way more muscular if I fuck with things in the right way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I saw a video on Facebook. Or not Facebook. I don't remember what it was. It was on one of the social media sites, and it was a warehouse, and it was just full of what looked like dumbbells, just free weights. And one of the guys that works there walked up and grabbed a hold of one of the 80-pound dumbbells and picked it up and just tossed it to the other guy. And the guy caught it, and you could tell it was like the
Fake.
thing weighed like 5 pounds. And this whole warehouse was full of nothing but these fake weights. And the guy said on video, he was like, "You'd be surprised how many social media influencers buy these."
Yeah,
And it's true. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that'll, they'll take videos of themselves or photos of themselves lifting this heavy ass weight, and a lot of it's not real weight. And he even said that, like, some of them, he said, we'll have like 80-pound dumbbells that weigh 20 pounds because you want to give the illusion of lifting with the weight. You want them to see a little bit of struggle when they're lifting it, but not enough that it's going to make a significant difference. You know what I mean? So
yeah. No, there's a lot of issues in the social media space, but
don't trust everything you see, basically.
that's a pretty good rule of thumb, especially on the internet. But I'd like to think things are turning around. I think podcasts like this are becoming a lot more mainstream, and people are spending their attention, because
That's our
really
hopes.
that's what the internet is. It's all a big game for attention
Yeah.
nowadays, and I
have
think
you heard-
people are spending their attention on things like this. And that's great.
Have you heard of Gary Vaynerchuk?
I have not. No.
So he has
Great dude.
he has his book called Day Trading Attention, and like that, at the end of the day, before everybody's attention was on what was beautiful and what was perfect, and like you said, now we have this shift in not just social media but in the world, that we've been filled with so much shit over specifically the past 5 or 6 years, that now people are trying to almost cleanse I think we're going through a social media cleansing, and people are wanting, they just want to see real stuff. And so hopefully this connects with some people, and at the end of the day, if we can just make a difference in one person's life, that's all we want to do.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much my goal with my podcast too. I think in this age of the internet, I think trying to add fuel to the fire of long form and good conversations, and trying to be real and authentic and genuine, and trying to make the internet a little bit more human, because it seems like in large part you go online and it feels very plastic, it feels very fake and not very human, whereas podcasts are one of the few things on the internet I think that feel very human.
Oh yeah,
because they're long, they're raw, they're unedited, they're very human.
They're just what they are.
Yeah, and if you get the ones that aren't scripted, then it's the most natural you can get.
Yeah, I mean, I do scripted podcasts, just so I can have them
Right.
on weeks where I don't have guests. But I mean, the unscripted ones are so
Yeah.
much better. They're a lot more,
The more
they're
organic,
fun.
the better for us, at least.
Yeah, when we first started, so first of all, you should
Go-
see our
go
very
watch
first
the
podcast.
episode.
They were
was
terrible.
rough. It was rough.
But when we first started, we had like we basically made like a talking points for like 100 episodes of podcasts. We had it all planned out, and we were like, this is what this week's going to be, and this is what this week's going to be, and they seemed so unnatural and all that stuff. And then, before we started having guests, we were like, okay, we don't like how these are turning out. Let's just find a subject that we're going to talk about, and we'll just shoot off the top of our heads. And
well, then it got to the point to where we'd get everything set up for the podcast, and we'd get ready to turn it on, and we'd look at each other and be like, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah. and so like I that's a long way of saying, like, my background, like I said, is in videography, and it's documentary filmmaking in general. And I always made a rule that I never made talking points. I never scripted it, because whenever I would interview people, I would want the most natural response. But then I broke that rule whenever we did the podcast, and I was like, okay, I'm breaking
Bring it back.
Yeah, bring it back to what I know. And ever since we started doing that, like I said, we have an idea of what we're going to talk about. Like, that's why I asked you those couple questions beforehand. But most of it, we're just naturally curious, and I like how conversations just naturally flow, and I feel like you get the most out of it whenever we do that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I try to run mine the same way. It's one of those things where if the more you try to control it, the less it is what I think A, people want, and B, what you're probably trying to get at. Because why are you doing a podcast? So that you can present conversations, so that you can spread information and such from different people, so you can share ideas, really. And you can't share ideas if you go in with this extremely tight architecture around it. It has to be a lot more loose.
And sometimes
it's messy.
Sometimes you get the best response, like the most unexpected responses from just shooting the shit. Like, you're like, oh, I didn't even know this conversation was going to go there, but let's go there. Like, I love that kind of stuff, because, like I said, I'm naturally curious, and so I enjoy learning more and more about people.
Yeah, curiosity is super important. I've been thinking a lot about it lately. It's one of those things that you have to foster that, and I don't know. There's something to rekindling the childlike spirit that you had when you were a kid. I feel like it's not like I'm old. I'm 23, but as I've kind of started leaving childhood, I look back, and very quickly I'm like, I'm leaving a lot of stuff behind. I'm leaving behind curiosity, excitement, just wanting to go on adventures and experimenting. And I think a big part of adulthood just has to be that curiosity and
I get that.
Rekindling the flame of childhood almost.
Is that part of what drove you to starting your own podcast?
No, this is actually an idea I've been just thinking about lately. But the podcast was mainly, I would say the reason I started the podcast was because I have a mentor professor, and him and I have just been talking about med school, and he's been giving me advice and helping me out. He's been a godsend, really. And I wrote my personal statement letter, because you have to write a personal statement for med school. And one of the things he said is, this is a phenomenal letter, and if you want to be more competitive, it's what a lot of these competitive schools are looking for is, how is this person going to be a leader in medicine? How is this person going to change the medical landscape for the better beyond just treating patients? And I really took that sentiment to heart, and I thought, well, okay, what could I do? What would I want to do? What would I be curious about? And the podcast idea just kind of started taking form, and here I am. I'm only 13 episodes deep, but it's been a whole lot of fun, and I think it definitely aligns with that mission of, how can I make medicine better? Well, talk to people who are experts and put all of my own knowledge out there, so that people have it, so that they can maybe take control of their health and be healthier.
Exactly.
So just out of curiosity, what you said, we were talking about, scripted versus non-scripted, and you said, when you have guests on, you tend to have a little bit of a script. What kind of guests do you have on your podcast?
So I have,
is it very niche driven, or is it just like a vast array, or?
So I cast a pretty wide net, But normally, some kind of health, fitness, proxy sort of thing. So I've had a previous NFL player on. I had a strength and conditioning coach, a gal who was a CPR instructor for like 35 years. So all stuff where we have the opportunity to talk about health and medicine.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and in terms of scriptedness, I script, so I write, so I have the guest episodes, and then they're almost more like lecture episodes where I write a long script and I'll unpack like hypertension. What is hypertension? And I'll go into everything about it.
Almost like a dissertation.
Pretty much, yeah. But I'll break down the idea for people, and basically try to do what I would do as a doctor, or will do as a doctor, is if I had 45 minutes with my patient to explain this particular thing, and try to give them all the information that they needed. And then the guest episodes, I'll kind of do what you guys did. I'll go in with a handful of questions, and then pop the questions out if I need them. But mainly, I try to just get a conversation going.
Yeah, just let it flow.
Like I know the talking points that I definitely want to hit, like to try to guide the episodes, because I think that podcast, although they're interviews, it has a story arc, and so like any great story, you have a 3-act structure, and you have different points that you want to hit. So I do try to like navigate the conversation in certain ways, but at the same time try to keep it natural and loose to make it feel natural and just organic. But one thing that you had mentioned is where you were talking about leadership, and that whenever you were talking to your mentor, a part of leadership, one of the most key elements of leadership is communication. So I do think that having a podcast, it helps with that, and it's especially for me. Like, I'm used to being the guy behind the camera. It's so unnatural for me to be in front of the camera, and I've gotten better. We're about 20-ish episodes in now, give or take. We always shoot ahead. We're like six episodes ahead. So yours will be here. Your episode will air in like 6 weeks from now or so. But but I'm getting better, and the more we do, the more comfortable I'm getting, and it feels less like talking on camera, and more just talking with friends.
Sometimes I forget the camera's even there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he's real good at it. He's just natural.
Yeah, I have a funny backstory. As a kid, like a young middle schooler, I would make just stupid YouTube videos, like dumbest, stupidest things in the world. And so I actually got comfortable from a young age, like being in front of a camera. So I've found it a very nice transition to go into podcasting. And
it's funny enough for me, before the podcast, I had really never been in front of the camera ever in my life. But growing up, my brother and I used to do all these just ridiculous, ignorant scenarios that we'd come up with in our heads, and we'd act them out, So the whole acting side was always, implanted in my head. Like, I wanted to act. I wanted to be in a movie, or I wanted to be an actor or whatever. So when him and I started going to the gym, we were joking around one day about something stupid, about like a car salesman kind of thing. And we ended up making that joke into an actual movie.
Yeah,
he wrote and directed a movie, and I starred in it with me and my brother both, surprisingly enough, starred in this movie. And it was called Drowning in Echoes. And it was about it's a comedy thriller, was what it was, and it was about a salesman trying to sell an extended warranty to this guy for his car.
But it goes like psycho.
Yeah, but it was like psychotic level, to where the guy would show up at his work trying to sell it. The guy shows up at his house, and the guy thinks he's going crazy because he keeps seeing him in unnatural places, like he's in the shower washing his hair, and the guy hands him the shampoo bottle. It's fun. It's a funny movie.
He just keeps appearing out of nowhere.
He just appears out of nowhere sometimes.
But it was a stupid idea. Like he said, we were bullshitting in the gym, and I have an obsessive personality. Like, if I get an idea in my head, you can ask him. My brain doesn't shut off until it's done. And so I wrote the whole entire script for the whole entire movie in 6.5 hours. I went home straight after the gym and wrote it.
And we shot the whole movie in 32 hours.
32.5 hours on a week, and we shot it. We had about 13 people in the film. It became a whole community project because a big part of the film was we wanted to highlight local organizations, local businesses, and local talent. And so we had about 10 businesses that partnered with us on it. And but whenever he was talking about that, we ended up being on the local news for this film. And I've been around cameras and been around the business for, like I said, the better part of a decade, and he'd never been in front of a camera. His interview, when they interviewed him, was perfect. It was the best interview ever. And then I go up there and I look ridiculous.
Yours wasn't bad.
You could tell I was nervous.
No, Noah was nervous.
Oh yeah, no.
Noah. God loved the kid, but man, that he was so freaking nervous. He looked like he was about to piss himself and vomit. He was so nervous.
He had that look like, I don't know what to do with my hands.
He was like Ricky Bobby. Like
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
I mean, I would imagine
I felt bad for him, but
you're behind a camera for all these years, and suddenly you're in front of one. What, like, you did documentaries and stuff though, and cameraman for that?
Yep. So I own a company called ML Productions. We're a video production company. What I always tell people is I'm there for all your creative needs. So whether it's video, photo, graphic design, anything and everything we do. And so I do a lot of my business that I do is I travel around the United States and I work with nonprofit organizations. A lot of them have big conferences, and so I go in and I'll shoot the event videos. And then, for instance, I just went down to Huatulco, Mexico in November. I scouted down there because we're doing a 5-part docu-series for, I can't mention the name right now, but where it's for a really big project. It's where we're looking about 2 years out. But I got a few times more that I'm going down there, but it's to help highlight the local culture and people and the amenities that they have down there. But I've been really fortunate. It's the most accidental career a person could ever have. I'm a musician, and I wanted to make music videos back in the day, and I wanted a music video done for me, and I found out I couldn't afford it. And so I was like, you know what, I'm creative. I can figure this out. So I went and bought this like $250 camera, and I just started like diving into it. Like I said, I have an obsessive personality, so I learned everything I possibly could. And before I knew it, I actually fell in love with video more so than I ever did with music. I still love music. I still play, but video is my passion, and it turned into a career. And I've been really fortunate. I've been able to I've been to 36 different states, 7 different countries, and I've gotten to see and do all kinds of things because of it. And
that's awesome.
Now I really hate shooting music videos.
The natural story arc. You become so good at something that you just see the flaws, and
I'm not even that good at it. I have people that are better than me. That's the number one thing that I learned is, if you don't have to be great at everything, you just find people that are smarter and better at something than you, and surround yourself with smart people.
Well, I think that's a sign of something who's pretty good at something is when they immediately say, there's people better than me at it. That generally tells me that you're pretty good at something. So you're past the the Dunning-Kruger effect.
I've heard of this.
Yeah. So when you start learning something, right, you get this huge peak up of, I know this. I'm a pro. I'm an expert. You read one book on finance and suddenly you're Warren Buffett, right?
Yeah.
And then you get to the top, and then if you keep going right back down, you're like, oh, I know nothing. I'm an idiot. And then from there, you just slowly climb back up, and you never reach that peak again. But generally, people who have gotten pretty high on that second climb, one of the hallmarks is you know how much you don't know.
I definitely know how much I don't know, and there's a lot of it. I realized, my dad always said, if you're ever the smartest person in the room, find a different room. And so, like, yeah. That's what more of my job is, just finding people that are way better than me. Like, maybe they're a really phenomenal photographer, and I'm an okay photographer, but maybe they're like just really good at food photography, and so I want them to be part of whatever I do. Or maybe somebody's a really good, they're the best interviewer in the world, I want them to work for me. So like that's what I set out for, is just to try to connect people. I'm more of a networker than I am anything else.
Yeah. I mean, you find the right people, and that's the best way to learn something, right? Someone who's been through the ropes, they can show you what landmines not to step on.
Exactly. Just like anything in life, it's all about building a community. You know, I believe
100%.
that no matter what you're doing, whether you're talking about video, whether you're talking about fitness, whether you're talking about anything under the sun, the more of a network that you can build, the further you can drive yourself. You know, and so I believe that networking is key for everything.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
when you incorporate other people that have the same drive or the same knowledge or the same dream as you, then it helps you to progress, because there's always like you said, there's always going to be somebody out there smarter than you that knows more than you. So why not try to reach out to those people and learn from them.
Yeah, some of the other best people to like network with are people who are just like you, like you're neck and neck. You know, you're right at the same level, and you're both moving up, and it's like that just fuels you like nothing else. Like there was a buddy of mine who he took the MCAT before me, and he got his score, and then I took the MCAT later in the year, and kind of the whole I mean, we're friends, right? So it's not like there's any animosity here, but the whole time I was like, I gotta do better. I gotta push myself more. But again, having that community where you can have that friendly competition, or you can have the person who's better than you who can show you the way through things. Like, but both of those are just phenomenal.
That's what he tells me all the time when we're in the gym. He says, you can only get so fucking strong, and one of these days I will catch up to you.
Yeah,
because he always talks about how he wants to try to match me. Eventually, one of these days he wants to get strong enough to where he can match me on strength. And I'm like, hey, that time will come one of these days, because like he said, I can only get so strong, and then I'll just plateau and I'll never get any fucking stronger. So,
and it's not that I'm comparing myself to him. It's just like
a
friendly banter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no,
it keeps it entertaining. It keeps it entertaining. It keeps it fun.
So back on your podcast, we talked about different things on your podcast. What's your goal to grow your podcast? Like what's the end goal for it?
So this is something I've really had to learn, because like social media and growing on the internet is a lot easier said than done, especially with something like this, because I've been working on finding this narrow path to walk where I'm making stuff that people want to watch, but not losing my actual goal and what I want to do.
Yeah.
Right. You don't want to be audience captured, right? You don't want you don't want to be making stuff for your audience, not stuff that you want to be making. So it's been a process of, making, because I'm sure you guys know the social media deal. If you just put out your podcast on Spotify, nobody's going to find them. You have to drive traffic with stuff like shorts or whatever else. So I've been trying to figure out that, making good shorts, but really just trying to condense information down that's been my burden that I've had to bear, because I have these really complicated topics that I talk about, and those are the things I want to make my content about. I want to make shorts about that. I want to make medium form content about that. And it's really hard to compress something like what are proteins and how do they form into a 50-second video.
Well, have you? So this is where I get really excited talking about this stuff. Have you? One thing that you might work for you is, you may not be able to consolidate it down into a solid like one and done 50-second short, but you could do it in parts. So part 1, part 2, part 3. But there's something that's really helped us, and it's helped us stay consistent, because it's really easy to get burnt out, on doing all this stuff. But I use a program called Opus Clip. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
I haven't.
I think it's only
wonders.
I think it's only like maybe $19 a month. This is not a plug for anything. We're not sponsored by Opus Clip. I just want to clarify that. But or just something that I use. I really enjoy it. But no, you take your long form video, your podcast, you put it in there, and it can be up to like 3.5 hours long. So however long it is, You put it in there, and it uses AI technology, and it will put really quality captions on there. It will cut it down from long videos to short videos, and it also ranks it based off of virality. So if where it thinks that, oh, this one will hit, it will give it a percentage score. So like a lot of the ones that we get that I use are at like 99% virality score, and it scores at like A, B, C, D, F, but it's a great tool, and I use it I use it for every single one of our podcasts. Like, we have enough videos now that are coming out every single day. They're just clips from our long form podcast that we're scheduled out till like December, so it makes...
Dude, that sounds like exactly what I need, because that's been my biggest issue, especially with like the guest podcast, because it can be like, it's really enjoyable to do the podcast when you're in it, but like, I don't love going back and listening to myself particularly much. Right. So going back and listening to a conversation that I had isn't my favorite. Especially when you got to clip it up and dice it up and chop. So what is it called? Because that's actually
so the first thing you need is Opus Clip. I would write this down, or I'll if you remind me, I'll message you all this stuff afterwards. So I got a notepad. But the first thing I use is Opus Clip. My number one thing is, like, I only have time to do this stuff on Tuesdays because I work 2 full-time jobs. And so Tuesdays is we get down here and I'll go home and I'll get this all cut up. The other thing I use is Autopod. Like, what editing software do you use?
I use CapCut.
CapCut? Okay, so I use Premiere. I don't know if it's available on CapCut. If you want to go into like more advanced features and stuff eventually, I'm a big Adobe fan. So like I have the whole Adobe suite, everything. But I use a program called Autopod, and what it does is, like, you're on one channel, we're on a different channel. I just put in I section off your audio track and your video track, and section off our audio track and video track. Again, we're not sponsored by Adobe. We're just giving good information. But then you go into Autopod. It's just an extension for Premiere, and you press a button after you've labeled it all, and it goes through and uses AI to cut between the 2 cameras. And so, like, everything I do, I try to automate.
Much work just taking off your plate right there,
right? I don't do that. Like, I did it with one of my podcasts, and it took me like 3 hours to go in and swap between the faces and everything. And
15 minutes.
It was the most painful thing in the world. Autopod, okay. Because I also love Adobe. I use Lightroom, and I also do astrophotography.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's like the most technical form of photography, probably. Yeah. But I love it a lot. It's
really, really long exposures.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, I'll do like 1 minute long exposures, and then I'll stack them. So I'll take effectively like an hour's worth of pictures on one thing in the night sky.
That's awesome.
And I'll put them all together. And then the funny thing is, you put all the pictures together, and then the final product is a black screen with a couple of white dots on it.
Yeah.
And then you have to go in there and stretch the daylights out of the histogram and adjust levels and put in all this work. But it's so gratifying because you put in all this work, and it's like you get a beautiful thing out of it at the end.
Yeah. See, I love I'm like I said, I'm just a creative person. I love photography. I'm an okay photographer, but I really love videography more than anything. I just love to see the results of my labors. That it makes you feel like, I did something. But that's the kid in me that comes out. But with that Autopod, I'm not kidding. This whole entire episode I'll have edited 10-15 minutes.
That is, I might have to invest in that, because the video podcasts, like,
Jack's about to have a stroke.
Like, no, I'm like here, like, because I've done like half a dozen video podcasts with guests, and it's just been, I love recording the podcast, and then after it, it's like, fuck, I hate this part so much, because you sit there and do all, like, especially getting the clips out of it or getting the medium form videos, it's like, it's like ripping teeth out, unfortunately, because it's so long. Yeah.
Do you know what I spend the most time on out of everything? I spend the most time in Photoshop creating the thumbnails for these podcasts. That's what I spend the most time. Also talking
Which,
about that.
might I add, your thumbnails are nice.
Oh, thank you, I appreciate that.
Really good.
But yeah, it's usually, if you have any specific photos that you want to send me, that I'll put together this for our thumbnails to make it look all nice, and I'll make you look handsome as hell. So I mean, we'll make you look sharp.
Put you in a nice
Sweet,
little
yeah, I'll
doctor
see
coat
some.
and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
get scrubs on.
That's right.
but yeah, that's part of, although we're predominantly about two things, fitness and motivation, and
military.
then military. Like those are the two things that we're about. But just connecting with other like-minded people that, like, you have a podcast. I could talk your ear off. We could make a whole entire episode talking about going into the weeds of the podcast.
Oh, I'm sure the video stuff, the audio. I'm a big audio guy because, like, again, play piano. I play drums, a little bit of guitar, so I love music production.
Yeah.
And I've written some of my own music, and I love the audio side of things. So that's another. It's just fun, creative. I feel like this kind of podcasting world is full of people who wear many hats.
Exactly, and like you'd be surprised. Like everybody's so individual, and we have so many different likes, but the commonalities that we share, and the things that we learn from one another through this medium, it's so exciting for me. And I just, like I said, that curiosity in me, it just really comes out, and I'm just really grateful that you were able to hop on the podcast with us, and we've gotten time to learn from you and get to know you better. We'll definitely have to have you come back on, and we'll definitely dive even further into the weeds.
There's a lot more to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to come back on. This has been a phenomenal conversation. It's flown by.
We've had how long is?
We're at
hour
hour
40?
and a half.
Oh shit, we've had a long conversation. It's flown by.
Yeah.
I thought, I was like, are we to an hour yet? I didn't realize. Yeah, we are.
Close to 2 hours.
I know, but no, this has been a really wonderful conversation, and
it's been enlightening also.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot from you.
So
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So to kind of wrap things up, if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, or they wanted to watch your podcast, or connect with you, where can they find you?
Instagram, Health Reframed, or YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. It's on everything. If anyone wants to get a hold of me, my email is healthreframedofficial@gmail.com, all lowercase. I have a link tree. I should probably put that in my link tree.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm on all the major podcasting platforms, Instagram, YouTube. So
hell yeah,
Awesome.
and we'll make sure that we drop your info in the comment section, or in the description. But yeah, for anybody that's watching this, and if you struggle with your fitness, or if you have a journey that you want to share, please reach out to us. You can find us on Facebook at both the Fatman Project and the Fatman Community. The community group is a really great place for you guys, because it's all about you guys. If you have a win for the week, or if you have good knowledge or good information that you want to share with the community, go on there. You have free reign. At the end of the day, our big goal is to just to help support and inspire and motivate you guys along your fitness journey, no matter what that looks like.
Do you guys have pictures or videos of you guys being in the gym, or conducting fitness classes, or just your workouts in general, or meal preps, or anything along those lines? Feel free to share them on the community page, man. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. And please also check us out on TikTok. I just want to say thank you to the whole entire community on TikTok. You guys have been amazing, and we've had so much positive support. We just hit over 10.5 thousand on TikTok, and so we're just, it's amazing. Thank you guys so much for that, and I've really enjoyed connecting with you guys. But also, we have a fun update. You can now look at thefatmanproject.com. That's where you can find all of our merch. So if you want to sport some really good T-shirts, or we have coffee mugs, we have every stickers, hoodies, and they're really high quality stuff. So feel free to check us out at thefatmanproject.com, and let us know what you think. But
before we let you go, just based off of the information you've given us, your knowledge with exercise and your knowledge with the medical field and the whole 9 yards, if someone were to come to you and say, I want to start my fitness journey, but I don't know where to start, or I want to start getting healthier, I don't know where to start, what would be the piece of advice you would give them?
Take the first step. Start. Go to the gym. Clean up one thing about your diet. Go to bed 15 minutes earlier. Take the small step, because you can't start a journey without that first step, and it's normally a small step, and that's okay, but take it and it'll take you far.
One foot in front of the other.
You don't have to
Yes, sir.
start to be great. You don't have to be great to start. You have to start to be great. Like that's
Exactly.
That's a big thing. Well, thank you for being on the podcast, and it's been a joy, and we're definitely looking forward to catching up with you in the future, and we'll stay in touch and bring you back on the podcast. But
Definitely.
Yeah,
Mr. Jack Snyder, you can find him at his podcast again at
Health Reframed.
Health Reframed. So
Awesome.
thank you guys for watching the podcast. I'm Mitch.
And I'm Dustin. And this has been the Fatman Podcast.
Don't be a bitch. Hell yeah.